Well, hello. Looks like the rumours were true. Hold on to your writing utensils. The Failing Writers are back for a brand new season.
Hello!
Welcome
Good
back.
Lord, we are back.
Back again. Welcome to Season 2 of the Failing Writers podcast.
I've missed it. I've really missed us. I really have.
I have.
I am genuinely quite excited about us being back. I feel like we've got a lot of stuff on the boil. A lot of, they kind of you can see the path ahead of us. That we've got stuff to do. And
We've got a plan.
Yeah, well, it does feel like there's actually a point this time, isn't there? Because we were quite aimless, weren't we, in our first
Well, you say that we weren't, but the aim was to get us writing.
Well, that is true. That is true.
That was our first.
That was the aim.
Goal, wasn't it? Really, of season.
And it
Yeah.
worked.
It did. In varying degrees and different ways, but it really did work.
Yeah. Well, why don't we begin by talking about that? By what have we been writing since last we met? How did doing that first season impact our writing careers? Did it have the effect that we hoped it would?
Well, I think without the added stimulus of doing the podcast and being nagged and having a little task to do, it hasn't massively I've kind of regressed back to not really doing anything.
So you're saying it hasn't worked?
No, it's not. It's just not massively. It's funny. I was thinking
But whilst
Yeah,
we were doing it, whilst we were doing
you were
the
writing.
podcast,
Then
the
it
first
worked.
series,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I've had a few ideas for some stuff to ditch the stuff that I was working on and jump ship and just start something new. So that's something, isn't it? That's
pretty
good.
new thing.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
progress.
an idea for something that's kind of maybe a novelty sort of screenplay thing. That's actually quite a well-formed idea that just kind of popped up. And I had an idea for this kind of play thing that I've had for ages that I probably just need to get rid of and write. So
Is that something you've mentioned?
no, it's not. No,
before
it's
to us?
what I've learned from the podcast is not to mention stuff because then you feel like you have to do it. Whereas if you don't mention it, you can just kind of go, what stuff? Never.
That's where
never
I've
even
fallen
ignore
down.
it forever.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay. So another aim for this season is to get Tom to write these things, get that play done, get that novelty screenplay out.
So that's my excuse and whatever. Do you know what I mean? I was thinking there was a point where I thought, do you know what? Maybe I should just give up the writing thing. But then I realised I wasn't actually doing any writing. So I'm not in a position to. I can't get it up, can I? Do you know what I mean? I'm stuck. I'm stuck.
You can't quit smoking if you don't smoke, can you? It's like you need to...
I don't know what the phrase was. They say it's stuck between a rock and a hard place. It's like that, but if with two soft things. It's just like I'm stuck between a sofa and a big bag of cotton wool or something like that. It's that's the position I find myself in. I can't quit because I'm not really doing it. So, yeah. So I think maybe I just need to get writing and then I can chuck it all in.
Yeah, then you can abandon it.
Maybe the truth is, Tom, because you have actually been writing. You're just not very good at finishing at the moment.
Yeah, that's true.
Is that fair enough? Like, you started writing the murder mystery. I was going to ask you, actually. I was intrigued. And I'm not sure we totally covered it. From memory, I think you just stopped because you weren't really enjoying it. Is that right? Or you weren't feeling it? Or I was just wondering whether it's worth looking at it again now, reading back what you've written. Because sometimes you do that, and it sort of inspires you to go, do you know what? There's something in this. It's quite good. I'm going to maybe just need a bit of a
I have a little bit of a
refresh.
problem in my head with writing the police kind of stuff. I don't really enjoy that. I always feel it's just kind of like, I don't know. I don't feel like I know anything about it, and I'm just writing from what I've seen on TV, and it's a little bit kind of like done and done.
I was thinking, Tom, you could because I don't think you really got on with the novel format either. So maybe it's worth addressing it in like a different, do it as a screenplay or something like that. Try it as a different medium or an epic poem.
Yeah, I can see writing a film screenplay because it's like, I can imagine you writing dialogue and you don't really have to write all the description.
Exactly.
There.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also maybe if you don't enjoy the kind of police procedural part of it, change the point of view. Because the story itself is sort of good and exciting, isn't it? But maybe rather than from the point of view of a copper trying to solve the crime, take it from from a victim's point of view, or from Do you know what I mean? Somebody else
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
not trying to
yeah.
solve the crime, but just is caught up in the story.
It comes back to that thing about write what you know about, doesn't it? And I think that's the other ideas that I'm not willing to be drawn on at this point or spell them out. Do very much have much more focus on previous experience and a bit of nostalgia and that kind of thing that I can tap into, I think.
Yes. Also, Tom, you really need to publish Charles Chatworthy.
Chad Nadworthy.
Chad Nadworthy's
Yeah, I was going to bully you
sales
about that as
guru
well.
book.
Yeah, I got
Yeah.
a little bit scared about that.
I think that needs to happen because
Yeah.
otherwise it's wasted effort, Tom.
Yeah.
You put all that effort into it. You've got to take it to the next level, if only for some content for this podcast.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, we can have this massive, ironically, like a totalizer for sales on it, and just it's been on. Maybe get John to do one of his little songs about it and stuff, and we can fill in how many. And this week there's been no copies sold. Yeah,
Sales
let's do
book.
that. Let's do that. Brilliant. I bloody hate this podcast. Seriously.
Already, you've
What,
got to
we're
finish
like
writing a
4 minutes
book.
in or something, and already it's John and Dave nag. I've got like, oh yeah, so I'll write a book and a screenplay. Shall I do the book and the screenplay for that story? May as well, and a play, and publish that book. Yeah, brilliant, cool. Oh, I'm going to write a sitcom as well. Well, why don't we do that?
Should we start
Why
picking
don't we
on
do
Tom
that
now?
while we're there?
Yeah.
John, what have you been writing?
up to,
Well-
John? Because you did mention briefly in our episode 0. Was it then?
Yeah.
That you
Yeah, it
and
was.
Kate-
Yeah, with your
Wife.
Has he got a name yet? Has he got a title?
Yeah,
working
it's the
title?
Happy Marriage Show.
Oh, right.
Oh,
Of course,
yeah.
of course.
Yeah, that's. We're not getting a lot of time to write that at the moment, but yeah, we're chipping away at it. We're just doing little bits here and there.
Yeah.
We're tending just to sort of sit on opposite sides of the table with an open Google document and sort of improv it, as in just sort of write. I write the blokes' lines and Katie writes the women's lines, which I think is why we've sort of ended up, the characters have ended up being like extreme versions of us,
Yeah.
which is quite interesting. But yeah, I haven't been doing a lot with that, but I have been trying to write the murder mystery, and that is why I wanted to ask Dave about the whole police procedural stuff. Have you done lots of research? Because you're obviously your main character.
I know the answer to this already. I have no idea. Dave has not said anything about this. But I already know the answer to this question. Dave, have you done lots of research?
I think you already know the answer to that, which is no.
Dave and research. Name a better combo. Unbelievable.
So how you get this is the thing, right? I have you'd probably be surprised to hear I have absolutely no idea how the police go about trying to gather information. But I don't know. What if you? Yeah. What? Are you just kind of? What am I trying to say? Are you just using logic? Do you know what I mean? Because I feel like there's like a logical thing that you would do if you were the police. You would do this, and then you'd ask that person, and then this little bit of information comes out, so you go and ask that person. And it feels like it shouldn't be that complicated. It's only when you get to stuff like, I don't know, to the sort of forensics and stuff.
Yeah, I'm taking
going on there.
the approach that most of what you see on TV is probably how it's done. And like you say, a bit logical approach to stuff. And I've also, when we came to sort of doing that NaNoWriMo whole thing of trying to write a book in a month, I made a conscious effort to say, I'm not going to think about it too much. Just get on with it. Because otherwise it would take forever, wouldn't it? So that's the approach that I've done. I thought, maybe this is what they do. If I ever get to the end of it, then I can maybe ask somebody if this is. But it's otherwise you can get so bogged down. Like I would do a brief Google search on what are the ranks of police officers, and then pick. Oh right, that one's above that one, so I'll have one of them walk in now.
Real in-depth research. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And just like wing it from there. Really.
Yeah, that's what
That's
I'm
been
doing.
my approach. I think that's
Yeah,
fine. I
same.
think it's fine in a first draft. That is one of the main lessons that we
that's stuff
took.
you can iron out.
Yeah,
isn't it?
from season one's main lesson was just bloody write something. Just get it down. Don't worry about whether it makes sense or not. Because how many things do you watch on TV that you go, they'd never bloody do that? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, and that's, from proper
I think
famous people.
that is slightly my fear, though, is that I'm writing a lot of the sort of features of the plot. are related to how they're going about investigating. And so it's all just like this, house of cards that's just going to come clattering down.
One thing's completely wrong. It's completely pivotal to the entire story.
In my head, I'm going to run mine past my good friend Stixie, who actually he's one of our listeners. In fact,
he is our listener.
He's probably listening right now. So I should maybe I could ask him now. I should ask him now, shouldn't I?
Ask him now, yeah.
Sticks.
How long has he been in prison? Oh, sorry, right. No, I assume he'd been
he's a real G.
Is he a policeman?
He's a Fed man.
Is he? Right.
Stixie, would you mind having a read of my first draft of this crime novel, please? Yeah. I see, the thing is, I'm saying this, and I already know that there's a lot of stuff I'm just not going to get away with.
What surprises me, John, is it doesn't surprise me at all, because this is kind of your approach to things. It's the thing, do you know what? I don't know. I can't think how I would ever get to find out the way that police would do. What is the proper police procedure? How do we go about finding? Oh, hang on. One of my best friends is a police officer. maybe I should ask him. Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea.
I just feel so sorry for him having to read it.
He'll be kind about
That's
it.
the other option, John. You could go and commit some petty crime and
get
arrested.
And then I could
when they catch you, say, how did you go about finding me? And that's how you find out how the police procedure works.
I once asked one of my friends, a different friend who's a policeman. I've got loads of police friends, me. So be careful what you say. I once asked him, if I wanted to make a lot of money very quickly, legally or illegally, what am I looking at? What's the best thing to do? He said, you want to rent like a big, nondescript, ideally detached house in a very crappy area, and you want to just fill it with marijuana plants. That's what you want to do.
Not these days with electric costs going up, though.
That's true.
Well, there is that, but they don't pay it, do they? They just hook onto somebody else's supply.
Wasn't your horror story was based in such a place? Wasn't it?
Yeah, that's where it came. That's exactly where that story came from. Yeah. How do you make a quick buck? So I'm just letting you guys know, because I know there's a lot of struggling writers out there, and some of them need a little sideline.
The play doesn't come off.
Yeah.
Then this is
so
where
that's
we will find John.
Top copper tip for you. You're welcome.
Cool. Right.
So how far through are you with the weed farm? No, with the novel, John.
I've written probably about a third, and it's coming out about just over 25,000.
Right.
I've decided to
Is
only
this the
try
one
to
that
write.
you were going to write in December?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So what I'm trying to do is write 500 words a day, because I figure if I give myself like a higher quota than that, I just don't write as much, weirdly.
Yeah, it's too much, isn't it? Yeah, you think, I'm never going to do that. So
it's just a bit overwhelming, so just sort of don't get round to it. But if it's really like tiny amounts, I tend to write more like 1,000. Mm-hmm. So it's weirdly sort of reverse psychology on myself. But I'm really enjoying it.
You are stupid enough to fall for that, though. A lot of people
totally.
But you are gullible enough to really, really think, no, that's fine.
To trick
I've told
yourself.
myself I need to write 500.
Yeah. And I'm like, at the end of the day, I've done 700 words. I'm high-fiving myself. I'm like,
I've done it again to me. Oh, John, you've got me that time.
I really pulled the wool over my eyes.
If it works,
it works. No, I'm
Yeah.
enjoying it.
Well, you're actually enjoying it.
Yeah. I really do like writing.
That's good.
It turns out.
It's good, that. Well, you see, this is the thing. This is what I was going to say about right, because the big news from my point of view since the last season is that I've only gone and got myself a bloody job.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to say publishing deal then, Dave.
No, that would no. I got a job.
But it is a writing job.
It's a writing job. And basically, it's all come off the back of the podcast, because in doing this,
exhausting your writing pool, your mental writing pool?
No, it reminded me, as John said, exactly how much I enjoy writing, and it was my sort of first love, and I just didn't do it for a long time. And last year, doing the podcast last year, I think I wrote more than I have done in 20 odd years, perhaps.
Yeah.
And it just reminded how much I really like it.
Yeah.
And being a voiceover it's only sort of happened accidentally. It was never like a big plan to do that. So I thought, do you know what? And now I'm writing stuff every day. And yes, it is commercials, But I'm doing something creative every day. I'm writing something, and there's like instant gratification with it as well. Because
And you are good at it.
well, it does help when you're doing something that you kind of enjoy and you're quite good at, and like everything's got a deadline and it's got a point. Whereas most of the stuff I used to write,
literally the opposite. Of
exactly,
yourself,
yeah. I could take as long as I wanted to write it, and no one
and
would
it's
ever
all
read it.
completely pointless anyway.
Exactly. Whereas this, like, you write it, you perform it, someone likes it, they buy it, it's made, you hear it on the radio. But unfortunately, it has also meant that I've had very little time to actually write anything else. But I do think it helps when you're writing every day. It does help to tune things up, and it does sort of stimulate other ideas. So I've got loads of notes of things to write. I just
that's good.
haven't had the time.
Like what?
Well, I think I mentioned.
Don't tell him, Dave. He'll make you write it.
Come on.
Well, I mentioned, didn't I, that I've figured out the ending to my book, the comedy book.
Is that's you figuring it out, or that's you writing it, doing like a draft of it?
It's me figuring it out and putting it like a beat thingy together for it.
Okay,
including a thrilling finale in Rotherham Minster.
Is it a chase? Is there a chase scene?
There's an underground chase scene. I discovered
on
that
mobility scooters.
That would be good. That would be good.
Is anyone wearing a T-shirt with some quote about wanking on it? People listening now thinking, where's that come from? You do need to listen right to the end of the podcast.
You listen right to the end for that, yeah. But I was trying to think of like a sort of set piece, a place to do it, and then I just was looking at like interesting, because it's set in Rotherham, and I was trying to look for interesting things.
I would love to see Dave's internet search.
Interesting things in Rotherham.
Interesting things in Rotherham. What is a police officer?
And it just popped up that there are loads of conspiracy theories. Conspiracy theories about the idea that there's a load of network of tunnels underneath Rotherham and Sheffield and Doncaster.
Tunnels,
like ancient medieval tunnels linking the churches and all that sort of stuff. So I've said, let's just say that's true, and have a sort of thrilling chase through them.
That's
at the
good,
end.
man.
So yeah, that's good. But also, not to give away too much about some of the guests we've got coming up this series, but I've been reading other people's books about writing and learning stuff through that as well. Because we've got an interview coming up with Will Storr. We're talking about his book, The Science of Storytelling, and there's some fascinating stuff in that, and I've been using that to sort of try and plot things as well.
That is a brilliant book. We have mentioned that book on this show before, haven't we?
Yeah, it's some really interesting stuff.
And it goes deeper than writing as well, doesn't it? We say that but it's kind of psychology, writing, human existence, human consciousness, all kind of all laid out in it.
So that's there's a brief summary of what we've been up to, I guess, isn't it?
So on average, we've all been writing.
Yeah. Lots of words have been put down.
Yeah. I've got another question for you, Dave. Sorry, going back to the crime books. Did you do any reading about how to write a crime book specifically?
Oh, I also know the answer to this question.
I just mean online, like how to approach it.
Tom sent me that breakdown thingy template almost, wasn't it? For
like the novel
Scrivener. Scrivener template of like roughly speaking, this should happen in this chapter, and then your second chapter should be this. So I did have like a bit of a break, and I found a few more similar things online that sort of give you a rough outline of, in most crime books, something happens here and then something happens there. But I couldn't say hand on heart that I did a lot of reading into the subject before.
It's good though. I think that keeps it fresh though, doesn't it? That keeps it your thing.
Yeah.
Stops you getting railroaded into writing.
Yeah, I like to have like a rough outline, just to sort of, just a blank page is possibly the most terrifying thing in the world, isn't it? Just like having you could do anything at any time. I don't know what to do, but having something that says, oh, maybe in the first chapter try this, and once you get going, things can change, can't they? But I did have like a rough outline.
It is quite liberating, isn't it? Not knowing what the hell you're doing. I'd hate to be one of those people who knows what they're doing when they set off writing a book. Well, it must be so boring.
I don't know. Yeah, sort of. But what I found was I had this sort of rough guide, and I used it to sort of plan out 2/3 of the book, and then I found writing that first bit really easy. And as soon as I got to the end of the plan, instead of like saying, do you know what, I'll plan it all the way to the end and then write, I went, I'll plan 2/3 of it, and then I went, oh, sod it, I'll just start writing now. And then I wrote like through the plan that I'd done really easily, and then I got to the end of it and just went.
And funnily enough, when you got to the end of the plan,
didn't know what to do then.
You didn't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I've got this massive visual metaphor of you like running towards the edge of a cliff here with like, you know, like the old contraptions of wings that they used to like before the invention of powered flight, and going, yeah, it'll be fine, I've got the wing, and then just kind of like,
I should have planned this.
Is that what it was like?
Yeah, very much like that. That's why I wrote like 50,000 words in a month, and I've written about 4 since the end of November.
You see, I've done exactly the same thing. I've planned out probably, well, maybe a little bit more than that, like 3/4 or something. But I don't really know quite how it ends. I quite like that.
You need that. I think you need that though sometimes, don't you? To
maybe
as a lure, as a bit of a carrot dangling in front of you.
But I feel like
to the end.
It's almost certainly going to be very similar to Dave's situation. He's just going to hit a brick wall.
But you said that's interesting though, Tom, because you're right. Because I didn't know the ending, I've got a lot more sort of open opportunities, I think, than I otherwise would have done. They're like, I've only just worked out who the murderer was, and it could have been 4 or 5 different people.
Yeah, and it kind of keeps the rest of it real. It wouldn't have been like that. It kind of keeps it.
Exactly,
it could have been. Because it could have been. Not because you kind of putting in like dirty red herrings and stuff, you know, like kind of, you know, when you feel a bit conned after reading something where it's like, oh, right, so that could have really
it was
happened.
a very organic, because I didn't have a chuffing clue who it was going to be.
Well, I'm sure it'll be great.
Yeah, I look forward to reading that.
So do I.
When do you think it'll be done
Christmas.
by? That's not bad.
Yeah, I just want to. I need to take a bit of time off and do a bit of writing. I don't think it'll actually take long, because I've got a really sort of clear idea of what the ending should be. I just need a bit of free time.
Yeah. So what do we reckon? Like 30,000 words left.
Something like that. Yeah. Most of them are going to be Tunnel, Dark, Rotherham. So, chaps, we should get on to the crux of this season, I think. Yeah. And we should... Yeah. Well, firstly, we should have one of those little interlude breaks. Yeah, should we do that first? Yeah. It's time to set sail. It's time to fail. It's time to come with us on a journey. And we're gonna show you how to not do things. We're gonna show you how not to do things when it comes to writing and collaborating and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, enjoy. So, John, you were saying we should talk about what we're going to be doing this season. Yeah, we should. So, I'm pretty sure everyone knows what we're doing now, because we talked about it last season and we talked about it in episode 0. But what's the plan, Tom? What's the plan? What if you just asked, why has that been thrown at me? Whoa, what? Am I meant to? I was just putting you on. I was just keeping it fresh. Do you know what I mean? Just knocking it round. Right? Yeah, no. Little game of tennis. Makes it sound like I should know the plan. Yeah. The plan is that we have an idea for a sitcom, and we need to put it together in a treatment and a pitch, and we actually need to write some of it to then pitch it to someone that has the expertise and authority to say that's shite, that is, or not. I mean, it could go either way. Essentially, what we're going to do is take the pressure off any of our listeners who've ever wondered what it's like to pitch. And we're going to do a live pitch, aren't we? And take that flack on our listeners' behalf. We are. Yeah, and try and find out stuff along the way as well. Yeah. So we've got an interview coming up with someone from the David Nobbs Trust who support up-and-coming writers and give out a bursary each year to help people develop, and trying to find out what is it that people are looking for. What is it when things are being pitched? What's the point of difference, or what do you need to do? What can't you throw out? What do you need to stick to? What differences do you have to put in? As well as speaking to people that have had massively successful. Like next week, we're speaking to Jeremy Dyson, who wrote A League of Gentlemen, amongst many other things. Do you know what I mean? And picking their brains and trying to,
I don't know. Just trying not to make ourselves look like idiots at the end of the day, aren't we? Really, just desperately scraping.
I think what we're doing is, because the chances of us ever actually finishing writing something are clearly so small, we're now just focusing on writing a plan for what we could write and calling that a pitch. So we've got to be able to finish a pitch, haven't we? We don't actually have to write the whole thing. We just have to write the pitch, do we?
Well, you say that, Dave, but I think we do.
so?
I think we do need to write at least a decent chunk of it.
Yeah, I think we need to write the first act.
Not for us, not for the pitch, not for the TV exec, but for the podcast. And there needs to be
finished product.
Yeah, fair enough.
Something tangible
So,
at the end of
for
it.
for clarity, we're writing a sitcom, aren't we? A TV sitcom called Poker Night. Basically, Friday night dinner, but at a poker night.
Don't make it sound like we're just copying off someone, Dave.
All right.
A brand new. Is this going to be your pitch?
Innovative,
Is this going to be your
original.
pitch?
Yes, I've got.
So what's your idea, lads?
Yeah.
Well, it's just like all the stuff that's been
Sort
done
of
before.
rehashing.
Yeah, it's just a,
Exactly.
it's
Do you know
just a
what?
clumsy
Yes.
reimagining of something that we thought was quite successful.
That is what execs are looking for. That's exactly what they're looking for. Yeah, something with a
I
tri.
love the idea of pitching it and imagine him in his office, like high-powered office. And as soon as it's a clumsy reimagining, as soon as he set his fingers on the telephone button, Marjorie,
Got another.
get me the head of TV in here now. We've got it.
Hey, I don't want to put too much pressure on us or anything, but we're not. We've been saying that we're going to pitch to a commissioning editor, but we're actually pitching to the director of commissioning, who's like
Bloody
He's
hell!
like-
All right, yeah. Don't say that.
the boss of
So
the
boss
commissioners.
right, okay. So, well, that's,
Oh.
yeah, good. Good. I mean, if that's the highest we can get in the organizer, I guess that's fine. But
So yeah,
yeah, that'll be all
look
right.
forward to that episode.
Joe, if you go big or go home, isn't it? You don't know if you're going to do it.
It is. That's
do it.
exactly what it is,
Whatever,
Tommy.
Let's do it.
Exactly.
Let's do it.
So what we need to do is we need to come up with characters. We need to come up with setting. We need to come up with story. We need to pull them all together. Maybe write one episode and then plan out how the other episodes of the series would work. Sort of standard British sitcom is like 6 episodes long, isn't it? But a lot of things, see, you think about like Netflix and that these days, you're looking at maybe 10 episodes.
Yeah.
So that's another consideration, isn't it? Like
let's
how
not get
many
carried away,
episodes.
Dave?
Well, but we need to think about these things, John.
Yeah.
We need to plan.
True.
I know we're not used to it, but we actually need to plan.
We do need to
What
think
we're gonna
about.
do.
Yeah, you're right. We need to think about its longevity, because when this is a massive hit,
Yes.
we can't have it, being wrapped
Fizzling
up
out
at the end
after
of.
one season. Yeah.
Well, that is another question that commissioners ask, isn't it? It's not just about, this series. Could we do a series 2? Could we do a series 3? That's what we're trying to get.
Do you think it's worth?
Just have a mental image of so many people listening to this podcast going, "What planet are these guys on? Seriously, they haven't even put pen to paper on." Like,
We've got so
Talking
far
about
2
series
words:
2.
poker.
Give me a
and
second
night.
series, you shit. Not yet, lads. Come on. Bloody write something. You've written the title of it. You've had one episode last season throwing out some half-arsed ideas. And all of a sudden, I don't know about you guys, but I'm a bit concerned about Series 3, whether that's going to get lost in the... Do you know what I mean? But I guess we just have to go along with it and see what happens.
Yeah, we need to kill someone off at the end of series 3, don't we?
Yeah, you're
To
right.
get,
Well, as soon as we know who
to
the
get
bloody
that
characters are,
permission.
dear, maybe we could pick someone.
Should we? Is it worth us trying to block out some ideas for episodes first? Because we have this sort of rough idea. Because I think that might actually help us nail down what kind of characters we need. Because we have
So sort of the major story arc.
yeah. What are the
episode, each
funny
episode, and then we can-
situations? What do the characters want?
Oh, yeah, shit, it needs to be funny as well, doesn't
Or-
it? Forgot that one, Dave. Didn't you on your list
what
of
do the
things we need
characters
to do?
want, and why can't they get
Yes,
it?
I think-
That's what
Yeah.
we need to be thinking about,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yeah, see, this is an interesting thing, isn't it? This sort of the thing about story and character. Which one comes first, or do they both?
But
need
that's
to
it.
sort
They
of
need
arrive
to happen at the same
together?
time, but they need to complement each other, don't they? Like there's no point in coming up with the
Yeah.
characters if they don't lead to any episode ideas, and sort of vice versa. But I feel like if we got some nice ideas for how we can get some funny stuff out of the episodes, that's actually going to inform the characters to a certain extent.
So is your first idea, John, is for us to have some ideas?
Yeah.
Pretty
Is that
much,
your-
yeah.
So I think that's a good
That's
first
it.
step. I think that's a
But
really
it's a
good first
starting
step.
point.
Isn't
We
it?
need a
It is,
starting
yeah.
point, don't
Yeah,
we?
yeah.
Pretty good. That's a good. place
Otherwise,
to
we're
start.
just going to sit here.
Yeah.
So we need to take it serious. We need to book
Yeah,
out some.
yeah,
we
yeah.
need to like take some time off work and book out.
I think we do, don't we? We need to sit on
block
Skype
out
for half a
full
day.
more-
and-
Yeah.
yeah. So when are we doing that?
Well, I.
It's nothing like putting Dave on the
Do you know what?
spot.
I am
Do you guys
actually.
need me in that or not? Can you two just do it and I'll just have a look after you've done it? or-
I have. I'm booking some time off over the Easter holidays,
Mhm.
so maybe we could
Yeah.
fit
Well, that'd be
something in
good.
then.
We could do that.
Because this is interesting thing about like your sort of communal writing approach with Katie, John, is interesting about, and we're learning about that in this series as well, about
Yeah.
how people go about
Because
working
we've never
together.
actually written something together, have we? Like all three of us.
No.
We've done it in different bits.
No,
and
no.
combos, but yeah, all getting stuck into one
Yeah,
thing.
we've always sort of written stuff separately and then tried to sort of jam it together at the end, but we've never actually written together. So
I don't think we're going to
it's been
fall out. Do you
interesting,
think
yeah.
we're going to? Could be the end of the
This
podcast.
could be
isn't it?
the end.
I think
couldn't it?
bringing
Could be, yeah.
bringing your vision in or bringing our
Oh, hold
vision
on a minute.
in
It's
line.
your vision, is it,
It's
John?
going to be
Is
tricky.
that how it's
isn't it?
going?
Yeah, it's basically going to be my
Yeah.
vision, and you guys are just going to have to nod along.
Yeah.
This is how it starts.
But we all inevitably we all have a different notion of what we're trying to do. Slightly,
I guess so. Yeah.
and it's difficult enough
Yeah.
with one person, but three, it's a little bit like nerve.
It is, but at the same
nerve-making.
time, it
Yeah.
actually gives you quite a bit of reassurance,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
It does, but there's also that thing, a lot of people talk, when writing, people talk about killing your babies. You've got to sort of kill your babies. In this, we're going to have to kill each other's babies, which
Yeah.
it
Beautiful
sounds
little
really,
babies with the big eyes.
sounds quite bad when you put it like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, I don't really want to kill your babies, but
Yeah.
But I
for this
think
to
we've got-
work,
we've-
I'm going to have to.
We've always had very good working relationships. There's a lot of love
Yeah.
in the room, which
Yeah.
is good collateral, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
But you're right.
but-
You can fall in love with ideas, can't you? And it's very hard to let them go sometimes.
Yeah, we do have to be sort of.
And sometimes you shouldn't let them go. That's the thing. That's
Yeah.
that's the whole key to
True.
it, isn't it? Knowing which hill to
Yeah.
die on and what to fight for and what you actually, when you believe an idea has to belong,
Yeah.
then that's
Maybe
where you have to justify
Maybe
it,
you know how in some sports you get a number of challenges to something. Maybe we have like a joker card we can play during the process.
System.
Where if we're
Yeah,
really
maybe.
passionate about an idea and the other two hate it, you can override them, but only once.
Maybe,
What do you
yeah.
think?
John has one challenge remaining.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but I'd probably do that thing. I'd just save it up for too long.
Yeah.
I'd keep it for something where it really matters, and then get to the end of it, and go, "Oh, I never played my joker." I always do that. Anything like that.
Like you're
It's
doing
always
golf.
in my pocket at the end. Yeah. Anything where you got a bonus, or you're doing like a computer game where you're collecting stuff or something. You go, "Ooh, a such and such, a protective amulet. I'll keep that and use it later." And never, at no point will I risk using it. I
That'll
might
come
need
in
it later.
handy.
So I would just be, yeah. So yeah, do that if you want. It will benefit you because I
Yeah.
won't out joke you. at any
Still
point.
in your. I think it's just you've got to just you've got to argue for what you believe. I remember seeing some interview with Mel Brooks about the only argument he ever had with Gene Wilder was
That's
about
right, yeah.
something in I think it was Young Frankenstein or something like that, where he like really vehemently argued for something, and in the end Mel
It
Brooks
was the
said,
putting on the Ritz.
"That's
putting
it,
on the Ritz
yes,
dance, wasn't it? It was
that's
the dance
it.
routine.
Yeah. He said we've got to keep it,
And they ended up arguing for like half an hour.
Yeah, and then he said, "Why did you say keep it?" It's like, well, because you argued so passionately about it. That's how I knew it was going to work, because you were so passionate about it had to be in there. So maybe that's our system. If we can bring ourselves
Argue for
if
half
we
an
can
hour.
bring ourselves to the point of destruction with a half-hour argument, then it's probably worth keeping it in.
Yeah, I can definitely.
Yeah,
use
so
a
maybe
joker.
we need those joker cards.
Can I have
after
two
all.
joker cards so I can keep one for safe for later? Technically, it's just like give me one joker card. but
Yeah,
if I've
yeah,
got
that's a
two,
good call.
I feel
Yeah.
like I can probably use one.
So you can trick yourself as well.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
yeah.
good.
You're right.
Good
Yeah,
to
I'm
know.
learning from you. That's good, that.
So yeah, we just need to book out a day, don't we? Spend a bit of time.
Yeah.
See, look at
writing
that. The first episode back, and it's working again. It's
We've already
working
got a
again,
plan.
isn't it?
It is.
It's making us commit to deadlines. And
Yeah.
So to be fair,
actually doing
Dave hasn't
something.
actually given us a date yet. There isn't a
Oh,
deadline.
we've
He
agreed
said
to-
sometime over Easter. What more do you want? How much?
You're right.
How much more?
You're right.
We've
Yeah,
agreed
close
to the
enough.
concept of a deadline. I think that's progress, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not a deadline. It's like a nearly deadline. It's a close to the end of life line.
Yeah.
Kind of. It's not.
Yeah,
It's not quite dead yet, but it's
It's a
yeah.
line.
It's not looking too well.
Yeah. So that's basically that is the thread that's tying this whole series together, tying our lives together, you could say. But like we're weaving other bits into that. aren't we? We've got interviews coming up. Do you reckon we'll do another sort of competition this
I think we
year?
should.
Yeah,
That
I
was
think
brilliant,
we've
wasn't
got
it?
I
something
really
like
enjoyed that. Yeah.
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 We've got a few other little ideas dotted around as well, haven't we? About
Hey,
writing some
perhaps-
different kind of stuff to keep us on our toes.
Yeah, perhaps we should do a competition. Don't put this in, right? But a competition, it's somehow we're asking people and they will feed ideas into our sitcom that we can then use.
Our competition is to write some really funny jokes for maybe a sitcom
Yeah.
that involves people sat around playing poker.
Yeah, and then we
And
could
then we just get hundreds and hundreds
brilliant.
Yeah.
of jokes.
we
in that
could
can
give
just,
like a little
let's
prize
do that.
away,
Let's do that.
like
Yeah.
Let's do that.
a satsuma or
Well,
something.
hang on.
And then
hang on.
we
We don't
can
need
keep
to. We don't need to
all the
give
good
prizes
ideas.
because the prize is the honour of it being included. Surely. Do you know
Yeah,
what I
maybe
mean?
they get a credit, like a,
Oh, don't-
like a thank you.
Again,
note.
again, D. You think you're getting carried away?
All right, maybe
It's
just
a warm.
maybe just
It's a warm, fuzzy
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah, you are being too kind, Dave, trying to give them an
All right,
orange
maybe
and
just
a
the-
very short mention. at the back.
just
Yeah.
the knowledge
It's
that
too
we
much.
are
It's too much,
grateful.
mate.
But yeah, we should definitely do something like that to get get some listener engagement, get people involved in the show.
Yeah. And if you're enjoying what you're hearing, do please subscribe and do tell people. I think that's where we need to spread, isn't it? That's how we're going to
Yeah,
reach more people and
That
we
would
need to
definitely
get.
help.
tickle the underbellies of more potential writers. Milk those words out of their metaphorical word nipples. That's what we want to do, isn't it? We want to just
Stimulate
Yeah.
their lactation.
semantic mammary glands.
Because there's always more than one teat, isn't there, to go around?
3 teats here, isn't there?
So
So as many people would say, this podcast has 3 of them. Yeah. So
but we're going to have songs and sketches as well, aren't we?
Almost
If we have
certainly.
got
time
time, Dave.
to do such things.
Yeah. And hey, thanks for listening. More importantly, thanks for listening.
That is a very important thing. Hang on a minute. I was talking about giving out thank you cards. Got poo-pooed. Now here you are, thanking people for listening.
Yeah, but thanking people for listening, that don't cost anything.
Yeah, it's not like saying by the magic of podcast, wherever you listen to this podcast, look under your seat. Oh, look, there's an
No, that's
orange.
true.
Is he? Do you know what I mean? It's not like some kind of Darren Brown magic trick that's making it.
Hang
Yeah.
on, I
Have an
didn't say
orange. Is that your new
orange.
catchphrase, Dave?
Yeah, have a satsuma.
Just think of the postage on a Satsuma,
There
Dave.
you
Come
go.
on, get real. We don't have budgets like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Right, well, that
Yeah.
concludes the first podcast. Well, it doesn't actually conclude. There's a bit of random waffling coming after the music. But if you've got any sense, you probably will think, yeah, that concludes it. I'll just turn it off now. You have been warned.
Yeah.
Don't say you weren't.
Nice to be back.
But next week, what have we got next? What have we got next week before we go?
Oh, yeah, we got something next week. Oh, we've already done that, haven't we?
Well, we mentioned it. We can mention it again, John. There's no rules. We make our own
You're right.
rules.
Make
Good
our
point.
own rules in this
Good point.
house.
What have we got next week, John?
We've got the amazing Jeremy Dyson on the show.
Oh, I'm so looking forward to that. Yeah, been looking forward to this for a very long time.
Start with the big names.
Yep.
Another BAFTA award winner.
Not a Scottish BAFTA, a proper BAFTA,
Yeah, and a thoroughly
Award-winning writer.
lovely chap as well.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it just? So stay tuned, and we'll see you all next week.
Ta-ra for now.
That's it, bye.
Cheerio.
Hello.
Where's everybody gone? Did you see just before I came on this evening, we've had a reply to one of our replies from whoever that was on YouTube.
I just replied to that before. She literally replied straight back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bit of a fan. I thought, great, a proper fan.
What did she say? Sorry, no, I didn't see that.
It was that heartbreaking comment from the other day on YouTube about why haven't you got more listeners?
Oh, you replied. What did you say?
I just said we are brilliant, aren't we? About time. Wait for the rest of the world to find out. Thanks for listening. So yeah,
yes,
just trying to
being up
keep
to
the
date with the fans.
irreverent but
self-deprecating.
yeah. That's kind of where we
Arrogant but self-depreciating at the same time.
and yeah.
Which brings me on to Stuart Lee last night.
Oh,
He's fucking
was
brilliant.
it good?
He's arrogant and self-depreciating at the same time.
Yes. This is why we had to postpone episode 1, because John went to see Stuart Lee.
It's also, why we had to knock Emma Kennedy back a week
Yes.
as well.
Or
Yeah.
Emma Kennedy. We've got all these top guests lined up, but no, John's swanning off to the theatre.
John, have you got the audio to play now? Because we asked you to.
Oh, yeah.
You
Yeah.
You're going to stand up and heckle to get him on the
Yeah,
podcast,
chat
weren't
to him
you?
backstage.
Well, no, he
and
said
stuff.
halfway through
Yeah.
the second act, if you just stand up and go, "Hey, Stuart, I'm a massive fan. Will you come on the podcast?" Have you got that? How did that go down? Did it?
Yeah, I got that recorded. Yeah,
Brilliant.
Yeah. I'll play you
Right.
that later.
Right.
Yeah. Cool.
What was his funniest joke?
Oh, that's difficult. His funniest joke. He did a bit where he was doing Ricky Gervais. He was generally talking about how a lot of comedians these days get billed as saying the unsayable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he picked on Ricky Gervais. I mean, he was picking on lots of people, but he picked on Ricky Gervais at one point and said, well, that is ridiculous, because if you were to try to say the unsayable, I mean, the word unsayable means that you can't say it. So it would be like this. And then he sort of ran towards the mic and started to try to speak, which doesn't sound very funny.
No,
And
a lot
actually-
of it is in the delivery, isn't it? Of a
Yeah,
of a
and
professional
to be
comedian.
fair, for the first
Yeah,
30 seconds,
that's
it was just
why,
sort of him looking into the mic and going,
Yeah.
sort of pulling
He does
faces.
that very well, though. He's not scared of stepping too far out and just making it.
No, that's it. And he takes everything too
The
far, and
awkward
it just
pause.
gets funnier.
Yeah,
and so he
yeah.
stepped away from the mic again, and he came back again, and then he just started making noises.
Yeah.
And there was a point where I was laughing so much I couldn't. The back of my head hurt so much. you know that little this like muscles behind
little
your
laughing
ears.
Pain. Yeah.
And I was like kind of rubbing behind my ears while I was
Yes.
laughing. But
An
yeah,
old
it was
familiar
good.
pain of laughter.
But it's just the way he just, it sounds so wanky, but he just subverts every joke that he tells to the extent where he almost sort of explains. Well, he's basically explaining how the joke is working as he's doing the joke.
Yeah.
And he berates the
Yeah, yeah,
audience
yeah.
for not laughing
Yeah.
at the right point.
Yeah.
And then he'll get like
Yeah.
his little cards out and say, look, you were supposed to laugh at that bit. Look, I've written it here. The audience laughs there. I put, may need clarification, but will almost certainly get a laugh there. And you guys, yeah, it's good.
It's almost
Good
as
shit.
if it's very carefully planned, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Yeah.
But he can riff as well. But yeah, no, he's extraordinarily clever and talented. But he's been doing it a long time. I mean, he was
Yeah,
probably
well,
shit once, wasn't
I saw him and the other one, Richard Herring,
Mm.
in, I think it was in Leeds in like 1997 or 8 or something like that.
he? Mm.
So they've been around a long time.
I used to love This Morning with Richard, not Judy, though. That
Yeah,
was-
I think this was
that
just
was great
as
TV,
that
wasn't
as
it?
that came out, or as that
Yeah.
was starting. So it was like
And you know who was on that, don't you?
Oh.
Emma Kennedy.
Emma Kennedy, was she?
I'm pretty sure she was.
Ah, see,
So there you go, full
we've
circle.
got, yeah, it all
We've
comes
got her coming
together.
up soon.
Cool.
yeah. I'm going to confuse people when we do the edit for this. I'm going to put this right at the end of the podcast as like a after the music. But even though this is literally before we've started the podcast, talking about it.
It's my first bit of, because I wasn't a very rebellious teenager, really. Quite a bit of a nerd. My first item of rebellious teenage clothing I got at the Lee and Herring gig. And they used to have this character. I think it was based on like an Anthony Hopkins movie, where it was like somebody writing a letter to somebody, and then you'd have this character like writing a very nice posh letter, like, "Oh, Father, tell me this," and then at the end he would say, "P.S. I am wanking as I write this," and I bought a T-shirt that had like a bit of lined paper on it, and the words, "I am wanking as I wear this."
Good
is
Lord,
shocking.
David.
Yeah.
Absolute
That was
rebel.
that was
Lovely
my punk
Dave Baird.
moment. Yeah, I didn't wear it in front of any like family, or,
Right.
anyone, anyone like that. I'd wear it on my own.
So not outside the house. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd wear it in my own room, but
Yeah.
not look in the
So
mirror.
ironically, just while you were wanking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I was a very literal teenager as well. Anyway, do we
And that's very
start?
much why I thought this bit should go at the end. So
Hopefully,
Let's
most people will have left by now.
I always assume that
Yeah.
you try and put the good stuff at the start for about the first half, and then just filler in the rest, really,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's just
I'm one of those perverse
Yeah.
people, though. I like to listen right to the end of a podcast, just in case.
In case it eventually gets
It's
good.
good. Yeah. There's always
eventually gets good or just ends.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of having a good podcast,
We should try that.
we should try doing that. We've entered some awards, and I was thinking maybe.
Well, don't tell people that before we've
Well,
won.
no,
anything.
I was thinking this is our opportunity. We could prefix the title of our show with potentially award-winning, couldn't we?
Potentially award-winning.
Yeah,
Actually,
because
award-winning.
there's I mean, there's
Award entered podcast.
Yeah. This is a little window right now before we haven't won an award.
Right, I see what you mean.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
before
mean?
That's true.
Would
Yeah.
that encourage you to listen to a podcast? Do you think?
Yeah, let's go with
officially-
why don't we just go with award-winning brackets pending the awards?
Pending
think
the
that's
actual
still
results
okay,
of
isn't
the
it?
awards.
Yeah.
Award-winning to be confirmed.
Yeah. Are we technically joint first in the awards currently?
I think
that's-
we
yeah.
are, aren't we?
Yeah.
To the best of our knowledge. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, being honest about it.
I
Good
think
point.
we've never not won
Something we've
any
entered.
awards that we've entered into.
Oh, hang
Yeah.
on. That's not true, is it?
Is
That's
that not
already
true?
not true.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Microfiction.
Oh no, but that's not a podcast award, is it? That's a writing
Yeah.
competition.
And the judges were
Yeah.
idiots, so it doesn't even count.
Hey, we haven't. As far as our listeners are concerned, we're still in the 250 word microfiction
I
contest.
think you've just
believe.
given
Is
it
that
away in the way that you phrased that we're not still in, though. Haven't
It's
you?
quite a nice, right at the end of this long drivel at the end, though, it's quite a nice place to hide it, isn't it?
Yeah.
We didn't get through.
Yeah. All that excitement. I think, it was left. The last time we spoke, we'd just all been amazed that we'd got through to the next bit, didn't
Yeah,
we?
we got through, and then we did put our next stories on the
on the blog,
didn't
and
we?
John and I both had
And
the
then-
same category.
yeah.
I was quite excited. I thought they were quite nice stories.
I thought they were quite nice.
Oh, mine was rubbish
But
though.
they
in the
also-
end. I did it kind of last minute. Yeah, I did my usual throw it all out and start again thing, and in my tired, drained state, it seemed all right, and then coming back to it, it needed a lot more work still. And I was like,
I was really quite pleased with mine, and I kind of thought that the fact that John and I were in the same category pretty much doubled our chances of one of us, doing something,
Yeah.
didn't it? I mean, that's not proper maths, is it? Not doubled, but increased the chances statistically.
one of you should have intentionally written a really bad story to
Oh.
guarantee taking up one of
Yeah,
the
we probably just
non-winning
confused
spaces,
the-
thus increasing
Confused the whole thing,
chances.
didn't we?
Which, I mean, John came close, but I'm not sure he was. I don't know if he was trying to write something bad.
But we didn't succeed. But what we're going to talk about, aren't we, is what we're going to do this series. We're going to be doing some more exciting things, and perhaps we might win them. So it's not all over yet.
Yeah, because we're getting a little bit closer every time.
Yeah, that is
That's true. We are,
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah.
We are improving.
It's a slow process, isn't it?
We're gonna have to. We're gonna have to stop talking now and start the podcast. Otherwise, there's not going to be anything for anyone to listen to before they've heard this bit.
Yeah, this will no longer be at the end.
This is the
This will
Yeah.
just be like the weird middle.
Yeah, God, our endings have got so long. We're doing them at the beginning now.
Yeah, it's just like an infinite loop.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's
Okay,
begin
let's
then.
begin at the beginning.
Yep. Hello.
Welcome
Good
back.
Lord, we are back.
Back again. Welcome to season 2 of the Failing Writers podcast.
I've missed it. I've really missed us. I really have.
I have.
I am genuinely quite excited about us being back. I feel like we've got a lot of stuff on the boil. A lot of, they kind of you can see the path ahead of us. That we've got stuff to do. And
We've got a
Yeah,
plan.
well, it does feel like there's
Yeah.
actually a point this time, isn't there? Because we were quite aimless, weren't we, in our
Well,
first
you say that we
series?
weren't, but the aim was to get us writing.
Well, that is true. That is true.
That was our first.
That
and
was the
only
aim.
goal, wasn't it? Really, of season
And it
one?
worked.
It did. In varying degrees and different ways, but it really did work.
Yeah. Well, why don't we begin by talking about that? By what have we been writing since last we met? How did doing that first season impact